only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
Hello there, my name is Damilola Ogunsi, also known as the Goldfish.
Hi, my name is Chiki Bright Emmanuel. I'm an actor and a filmmaker.
Hello peeps, my name is Yomi E. Adejimo.
Hi everyone, I'm Paul Utomi.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Benjamin and this is Voice of the People TV.
I need you to keep it locked to VOP TV. See, are you looking for good entertainment? You want to get good movies, good music, politics, talk shows, sports and entertainment. You really want a channel that gives you everything you need without you having to run around. VOP is where you are. That's Voice of the People.
If you're not listening to this, you're not one of us. And you deserve to be killed. Scrap chat. Don't be killed, but watch it. Or I'll find you. And I want you.
And you are locked on VOP TV. Don't go nowhere. This is where the juice is. This is where all you need for entertainment, politics, movies, and whatnot.
And keep watching VOP TV.
So keep it locked because I'm locked already, man, and it's money back guarantee. So you're gonna have a good time because I do.
And please keep watching VOP TV.
I won't want to actually, I beg you, subscribe, watch it. If not, whatever you see.
You better not touch that die because VOP is the plot.
Shall you continue to echo the voices of the people? Big up VOP TV.
My name is Suibifa Dokobo. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Hi, my name is Kwekumali Ikenda Onyekwena, and I am with the Voice of the People TV. Now, if you're looking for the veritable channel for information, politics, robust discussions, you don't need to go far. VOP has you. VOP will always have you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patrick Diabwa, aka Ibani Chuka, Amayanabo the Eagle King, and you are watching VOP TV. Stay with us.
2564 is coming up on burning down, right?
2564 Atlantic. What happens in the hush behind hangar doors? Who signs the papers that gamble with lives? Which truths were grounded before they even ever had wings? If you've ever buckled a seatbelt at 30,000 feet, if you've ever stared out of that tiny window and wondered who's really in control of the skies, it isn't just flight, it's power, it's politics, it's pressure sealed in steel. We're peeling back the clouds from runway risks to sky-high secrets. We're diving deep where most dare not to look. Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
On Edudal.
Five Afcon winners, of course, years of history and so much glamour last night. Eventually, we now have the finalists for the 2025 African Cup of Nations. The question on the lips of the minds, on the mouths of all Nigerians, as well as the Egyptians, is what went wrong last night as the Pharaohs of Egypt and the Super Eagles of Nigeria crashed out, leaving the Teranga Lions of Senegal and the Atlas Lions of Morocco. It seems like a Lion final in this year Afcon. On that note, I welcome you to this morning's episode of Sport Republic. My name is Ikechukwu Aguago. As you can see, it's been a gloomy day for Nigerians when it comes to football because a lot of persons are actually trying to wrap their heads around what really went wrong last night. Some persons are actually blaming Eric Chell for his tactical approach to the game. Other persons are calling out Samuel Chukwueze. And some other persons, it's just the referee that actually spoiled the whole thing. But then we'll be looking at that and more in this episode of today's conversation that regards sports this morning. Don't mind me because I'm still trying to, come out of the whole drama that actually went on yesterday. At some point, I just felt like, what, the Moroccans have actually won even before the penalty shootout. Because, the mood of the boys and, of course, how, the Moroccans are actually coming at the players and how the referee was actually managing the game, everything just points towards the fact that Morocco will definitely go into the first finals in 50 years. Exactly, this is going to be the second time if they eventually win it and they're playing right there at home. Some other persons have actually alluded that maybe CAF is just trying to, compensate Morocco for bailing them out. Over the years, they've been more like the de facto CAF, or Afcon host when it comes to female football. They've hosted and bailed out CAF on numerous occasions when it comes to hosting the female category of this particular championship. So perhaps, and remember also that the Super Falcons of Nigeria actually, last year actually won this particular title in an agonizing defeat, right? Or win, or we want to say defeat, if you are actually Moroccan. And it's actually ended where they actually 2 goals up and they eventually lost the game 3-2. So all of these, a lot of conversation, a lot of controversies, maybe just why we get to see this sort of officiating this particular episode or, version of Afcon. Recall, this is not just about Nigeria. A lot of countries have been complaining. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon also complain. The Tanzanians also complain. So it seems like, there's a plan or an agenda to eventually gift Morocco this particular championship. This is not to take anything away from the qualities of the Moroccans. They actually did so well to actually make it through to the finals. Of course, to also win that particular game against Super Eagles of Nigeria. But then, before my host, Biodun Akpeno, eventually joins, let me definitely take you through, the events that actually happened yesterday. I'll definitely be starting with the game, that actually was played before that of the Super Eagles, which is the game between the Teranga Lions of Senegal and the Pharaohs of Egypt. As, this two teams, these guys are heavyweights when it comes to African football. And a lot of persons were actually, expecting Mo Salah to actually find a way around, his former teammate and, international foe in the person of Sadio Mane. Because this is the third time Sadio Mane is actually denying Mo Salah, in a very, very big moment. The very first one was in 2019 when they actually took the African Cup of Nations ahead of Mo Salah. The second was denying him, Mo Salah, the chance of going to the World Cup. And now he's actually the man behind, the downfall of the Egyptians as he actually scored late in that particular tie to, end the Egyptians' chance or surge of a 7th African Cup of Nations. Leaving Mo Salah still seeking his first continental title. Man United, the only goal, tightly contested match with 12 minutes to play in Tingere, firing a low-footed shot inside the left post after the ball broke to him outside the box. This victory marks the third time Mane has triumphed over his former Liverpool teammate in a crucial international match. These previous encounters were 4 years ago, where Senegal defeated the Pharaohs in penalty shootout during the 2021 Afcon finals playoff, and of course 2022 FIFA World Cup playoff, where Mo Salah actually lost again to Sadio Mane, like I rightly said. And this is actually one of those times, you don't want to be an Egyptian. And it's largely effective in that particular match. I'm talking about Mo Salah, with the North Africans failing to test the goalkeeper. I'm talking about Edouard Mendy, until Mamamouche long-range effort was saved in the dying moment of the game. Senegal will face Morocco in the final on Sunday. At about 7 p.m. that game will be played after the host nation advanced by defeating Super Eagles of Nigeria 4-2 in a penalty. Another semi-final, unfortunately for Senegal, they will be without captain Khalid Koulibaly and midfielder Habib Diarra. These guys are actually crucial, in that particular team. And in the final, due to suspension from receiving second yellow card, I'm talking about Koulibaly, also he's got fitness issues to also worry about. And it's one of those very big moments. You start asking yourself, this question. I can actually, understand why this is going to be a very big miss, because Wilfred Ndidi's absence was also huge for Nigeria last night. And it was actually built to be a clash of between Senegal. Like I said, these guys, anytime they come up, maybe because of, Sadio Mane and Mo Salah, these guys always want to actually show they are actually big characters. And every single time, it seems like, the pendulum will always swing towards the Senegalese. And this match was actually built, to be a clash of titans as a showdown between the two former Liverpool stars. But Senegal demonstrated their dominance with solid midfield control. Nicholas Jackson's first half effort went over the bar, and attempts by Diarra and Pape Gueye were untimely blocked by Egyptians' defense. Egypt struggled to create meaningful chances, I must tell you, in that particular game, with Koulibaly earning a booking for tipping Mamouche outside the box. The tension intensified when a Senegal coach Papito crossed into Egypt's technical area to issue instruction. The truth is, Papito also was part of that golden generation of Senegal's side. The side actually defeated France in 2002 World Cup. So I think it's something about the Senegal national team that that generation. You recall Cisse actually got in the first Afcon. He was also part of that golden generation. And it seems like there's a trajectory, there's something about that generation that will continue to actually produce something awesome for them. Now they're in another final. Maybe they might just go all the way again, come on Sunday. And Tao also went to the technical area of the Egyptian side to dish instruction, and it was heated. I saw him and the Egyptian legend talking about Hossam Hassan. They were actually exchange of words, heated arguments. The both bench went rowdy, and then match officials, the game had to be paused for a few moments, and then the game continued, leading to a lot of exchange. And before halftime, that's actually happened. Then the second half saw pattern continue, the same pattern where Senegal continued to dominate in that particular game, with Teranga Lions attempting long-range strike, while Pharaohs remained largely defensive. I think one of the biggest mistakes of the Egyptians was that they came into that game, to actually play transition football. And when you want to play transition, one of the key ingredients or elements for you to actually play such kind of football is that you must have, good midfielders, good ball playing midfielders, people who can actually pick, that awesome pass from different level, maybe range, maybe short. And you must also have somebody who is an excellent ball carrier. The Egyptians lack both, and the Senegalese have top-notch defensive midfielders in person of Gueye, who's got a lot of experience, and Habib Diarra is also another will I call him enigma in the midfield for the Senegalese. He was so huge, and it was difficult for the Egyptians to find a way. And then it was just let's find a way to actually get Mo Salah on the ball. And every single time the ball was thrown to Mo Salah, there's 2-3 man on him, and it's difficult for him. Even though Mamouche was largely ineffective in that particular game, and the defense of the Egyptians, Senegalese, I must say, was very, very awesome. And the Egyptians also was forced to actually play defensive, and it was more like one-way street. Everyone who was watching that game believed that, hey, there's no way the Egyptians would have won it. And trust me, if the Egyptians had won it would have been against run of play, or perhaps penalty shooter, and eventually Teranga Lions actually won. I must say that was a deserved victory. Even after the strategic introduction of a veteran, Trezeguet also came into that particular game. And the breakthrough finally arrived in 78 minutes when Mane capitalized on a blocked effort from Lamine Camara. Lamine Camara was also very, difficult to actually play in that particular game, alongside, Ndiaye, who was actually turned in the flesh. He was skillful, he was strong, was quick, and it was a lot for the Egyptian backline to handle. And striking from 20 yards, I'm talking about Sadio Mane, that shot from 20 yards with El Shenawi unable to react in time, and it goes sparked celebration among Senegalese fans. And despite the VAR check, a lot of persons also initially felt it was handball, but no, it was just, Mo Salah's chest, Sadio Mane's chest, and that was a goal. And the handball claim against Mane was, turned down. And Egypt's coach Hossam Hassan sought to spark a comeback by bringing on fresh legs in the form of Zizou, Mustafa Mohamed, and Salah Hussein. However, their efforts were largely ineffective again, and Senegalese Mendy eventually made a crucial save from Mamouche's strike. And this is where, it gets interesting. Now, a big question has been asked, after that particular game. Mo Salah, a lot of persons is just expecting him to just pick up, that particular title. Once he picks, I'm talking about the Afcon now. Once he's able to actually pick up the Afcon, it means he's going to be undisputable, greatest Egyptian player ever. You might want to argue that, even though, but then, seeing him that he's 33 now, and he has failed to actually pick this particular one. And the next Afcon is going to come in 2027. And after 2027, Afcon is going to be quadrennial, which means it's going to be every 4 years. I don't know how he's going to do it. The next Afcon is going to be, it should be 35. And at 35, you'll be expecting him to be, he's very slow in this particular Afcon. And then come next Afcon, it's going to be even more slow. And it was a very, very, terrible taste for, the Egyptian king. But then the latest defeat will be particularly painful for Salah, I must say, who had hoped to finally lift the Afcon trophy after losing in the finals in 2017 and 2021, experiencing a last 16 exits in 2019, and he will face questions about another missed opportunity, especially with the next tournament set to be co-hosted by Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. That's going to be called the East African Tournament, I must say. And in 2027, possibly being his last shot, and Egypt's wait for a title continues, extending back to the last Afcon victory in 2010, while the semi-final defeat marks his first since 1984. And trust me, right, that's over 40 years, the last time, Egypt was knocked out of, the semi-finals of the Afcon. And trust me, with the way I'm seeing this Egyptian side, I must say that they do not even look like a side that's got the quality to actually, stage a comeback in 2027. I mean, no disrespect to them, but what I saw yesterday, they do not have it. And maybe because, well, you might want to say 2 years is quite long in football. The defending champion of the CAF Championship is Pyramid of Egypt. So if they can actually produce another champion in CAF Championship, I'm talking about African version of UEFA Champions League, then definitely I mean they might be fancying the chance of getting a very good team. Now I said this in the light of what happened in between 2006 and 2010, golden generation of Egyptian footballers. These guys were basically playing in Al Ahly. These guys were playing in Zamalek. These guys were playing in Egyptian club side, and they actually dominated Africa, blew Africa, by storm. All the big players, the Yaya Toure, the Mikel Obi, the Gigi Okochas that are coming from Europe. These guys made them to understand that African football is quite different. So maybe if the Egyptians are able to actually keep this set of players in their league and get good talent between now and 2027, they might actually stage the comeback and then get their seventh title. Maybe, just maybe, it might just be the last dance from Mo Salah that will give him what he has really eluded him. But I mean, so far so good. You got to look, at players like Osama San. These guys have enjoyed Afcon titles. You get to look, back at players like Egyptian great like Ahmed Mido. You get to look at a lot of players in Egyptian ranks, and you start asking yourself, why not Mo Salah? What's wrong with Mo Salah? I mean, this guy has done everything, broke all the records, basically all the records in England. He's done a lot for himself, even in Europe, and he's one of the biggest and, most talked about marksman in the world, and now he's struggling to actually replicate the form in Africa. It's one of those very sad things where, you do everything for your country, but somehow, it just doesn't pan out. I felt so bad for him because, not because I'm a fan of Mo Salah, but because I look at people and I understand what it means to actually work so really hard and not get that thing that you really want. And every single time, you come up to actually chase a particular title, somebody is just right there to actually stop you from it. I mean, someone even described Sadio Mane as the weapon fashioned against Mo Salah not to pick up, an Afcon title. And it's so sad. And I mean, I must also give it to, Sadio Mane. He was magnanimous in victory. He even though they actually won that particular game, he was very, reasonable enough to actually go to Mo Salah, give him a hug, and he told his team to actually, concentrate. This is not the time to actually go into jubilation. There's still a lot to play for. Let's get it all out. Let's get to the finish line before we start jubilating. But at this point, he really showed, the Egyptians and, Mo Salah a huge respect, like he did, in 2019 when they actually picked up that particular title ahead of, Mo Salah. But I mean, that's what really happened in the very first, semi-final that we saw yesterday, and then we now saw the big one where Morocco eventually eliminated Nigeria in a thrilling penalty shootout. That was huge, right? The Super Eagles actually were eliminated from 2025 African Cup of Nations after a 4-2 defeat on penalty against Morocco in the semi-final held in Rabat on Wednesday. The match began with a shaky moment for Nigeria. Semi Ajayi, weak pass in the second minute, nearly gifted Morocco an early goal. Unfortunately, his timely recovery prevented any damage. Ibrahim Diaz almost broke the deadlock in 8 minutes when his sharp left-footed curler narrowly missed the target. The Nigeria's first attempt on goal came in the 10 minutes, but Ademola Lookman's effort was parried away by Morocco's goalkeeper, Yassine Bono. That guy was so immense. I mean, that guy was, for me, I think he's the best goalkeeper of this tournament. Morocco had 2 solid opportunities within 2 minutes span that were squandered by Yacoub El Kabi. At some point, Ekabi almost tried the bicycle kick against Nigeria, and I was wondering, what's wrong with this dude? Must he even score a bicycle kick? And Ibrahim Diaz, I must give it to Bruno Emechi. He was so good. He actually did a good job on Ibrahim Diaz. And the Super Eagles struggled to create chances, while attackers like Victor Osimhen and Akordowns effectively neutralized by a disciplined Moroccan defense. In the 36 minutes, a free kick taken by Ashraf Hakimi didn't pose a significant threat to goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali. However, Ismail Sabiri nearly put the host in front 39th minute, expertly maneuvering past two defenders before a shot was deflected by Nwabali. The first half concluded with neither team managing to find the back of the net. The truth is, Sabiri was really a ton of fresh for the Super Eagles in that particular game, because he was the man who was, tasked with actually creating chances. He was skillful, he was slick. It reminds me of, Ahmed Fati in that Egypt golden generation. So quick, so slicky. He doesn't think too long on the ball. He knows exactly what he wants to do. And Nwabali, for me, I think going into this particular tournament, a lot of us had this what would I call it, reservation about him, because his form was actually not as it was, in 2023. So we really had a lot of questions. A lot of us were actually looking at Madukoko coming to actually take Jesse from him. But I think he was very good last night. He was at his game last night, and he did a very good job. But unfortunately, it wasn't, the Super Eagles. Now, as the second half also kicked off, the Super Eagles looked to press forward, but a promising effort from Frank Onyeka went wide in 47 minutes. Nwabali maintained his team's hopes by making a crucial save against a coiled shot from Abdulsamad Ezazuli. That's another very difficult player to deal with last night for Super Eagles. He was skillful, he was quick, himself, Ibrahim Diaz, and Ashraf Hakimi, Sabiri. These guys just kept coming on the Super Eagles, and that Anoy guy in the midfield, also very difficult, winning all the balls. I think one thing that really helped the Moroccans was the fact that they seemed to actually went after all second balls. They won virtually almost everything. In the first minute, Nigeria's best chance also came around, and was in the 65th minutes again, when Alex Iwobi's through pass to Victor Osimhen, went astray due to an unfortunate touch. Later in the 74th minutes, Bruno Emechi successfully headed away a dangerous cross from Moroccan winger. At that point, I think I must say that I can mirror the minds of the entire country at that point. Everyone's actually holding their breaths in their hand, because that felt like there was someone behind Bruno Emechi, even though there wasn't. But Bruno Emechi actually did a very good. For all it's worth, a lot of defenders would have even headed that ball home, and it would have been an own goal. And that's why I'm saying Bruno Emechi actually did a very good job last night. And with the subsequent corner cleared by Nigerian defenders, another attempt by Zazuli in the 81st minute of that game, thwarted by Nwabali, who kept the score at 0-0 as 90 minutes came to close. Extra time saw Morocco looking for the decisive goal, with Osman Tagan's shot in 94th minutes drifting past the Nigerians' goalpost. Now let me put it a hold here, right? At 90 minutes, right, I was expecting a lot of stuff to actually happen. The coach of the Super Eagles, I was expecting him to actually make several changes. Yes, we'll definitely come to the referee part in that particular game. But I was expecting the coach of the Super Eagles to make a lot of changes. I was expecting Samuel Chukwueze to actually really step into that particular game to, affect that game, because the way it was at that point, Alex Iwobi was being closed down. These guys were really pressing hard, and it was difficult for, the Super Eagles to actually find a way because of how the Moroccans were really pressing the Super Eagles. So, and that's exactly what, the 90 minutes actually gave. But then let's go on a quick break. When we come back, I'll talk about the extra time as well as the penalty. And then we'll look at, what really happened, what really went wrong, why did the Super Eagles lose, and all of, the talking points of that particular game. Don't go away.
In a world where power shapes with every headline.
In a nation full of questions.
In a world filled with noise, the truth needs a voice.
The policies that shapes our world, and the economy that determines our future.
Every hour, every day, the grapevine keeps buzzing. And together, we are committed to telling the stories that shape our world, because your voice is our focus.
Don't forget, our voice matters the most. Let us come together our concerns.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check, only on Voice of the People television, where your health has a voice.
Mr. Familoni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
My name is Made Kuti, and you're watching VOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. This is VOP TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Are you ready for the extraordinary?
So welcome back to Sports Republic on Voice of the People TV. Like I said earlier on, before I went on that quick break, I said after the break, I definitely will continue with what happens after 90 minutes. So in the 103rd minute, Victor Osimhen actually missed a clear chance when he chested a float across, but failed to actually connect properly, relieving the Moroccan side as the second half of the extra time unfolded. Both teams fought for goal scoring opportunities, but ultimately saw none materialize. A powerful shot from Nafi Agad in 119th minute was met with another solid save from Nwabali, leaving the match still goalless after 120 minutes. The deadlock forced the match into penalties where Nigeria fought at Samuel Chukwueze and Bruno Emechi both missed their attempts, allowing Morocco to advance with a 4-2 victory in the shootout. And that's exactly where I'll be introducing my guest, David Edwin, who's joined me this morning. David, it's good to have you join Sport Republic.
Well, good morning, IK, and good morning to our teaming viewers. It's happened. We never, I would not say it, we never expected this result. Nobody did. But the irony of it is that we have a team that soft-pedaled. They soft-pedaled yesterday. I at least believe that we're going to be playing at the back of all of the pressure that the Moroccan side were bringing. If you ask me, the Moroccan side were more hungrier for that victory, because all through 90 minutes, all through the other 30 minutes, 120 precisely, they had that energy. The energy was consistent. But unlike the Super Eagles, where we only had, I think, 2 shots on target in all of the 120 minutes, I mean, that was not...
Just one shot.
No, it was actually 2. Right, just don't go that way. Just 2 shots. But it doesn't tell well of a team that scored as high as the highest in the competition
12
during the group stage. So if you're going to look at it from the last time such happened was with the Zambian team, where the legend of Zambia now was playing for the team. What I'm trying to say in essence is, we saw a Super Eagles side that decided to soak in the pressure, decided to not, push further. Should we be concerned about the fact that it was the home advantage? That also played a part, because I saw, what's this guy's name, the comedian and skit maker, he's in Morocco. He made a video afterwards, and it was like, I thank God say we lose, because if you follow us there inside that stadium, the people we experience, no be waiting, you go fit up. Thank God say we lose. I didn't say we win. How for 10 years later? How for 10 even celebrate? Even though some might want to say that was a joke, but we know how hostile host nations can be when they lose out to a team that they know for a fact is good enough to defeat them. But kudos to the Super Eagles, I must say. Yes, one game made us not get to the final game. Do we go forward from here? The thought of this match is by Friday. Do we move forward from here? It's a long conversation that we all should be having. Let's talk about the penalty. If you ask me, Chukwueze was, I don't know, a lot of persons have criticized him, how he took that shot, and the fact that he had gum in his mouth, it was a distraction. I mean, I've seen so much on the internet since after that shootout. And I only told myself the best of players in the world loses penalties. So let's not just blame it on Chukwueze. I mean, Bruno Yemechi had a very, very beautiful shot, but of course, trust Bono. A master of what he does. He knows how to, stop, such spot kicks. And he only anticipated that ball was coming his right-hand side. And of course, he just threw the hand and boom. That was just a I still think the Super Eagles did what they could do at the time.
So let's talk about this particular Afcon. A lot of persons have actually raised concerns, questions about the Afcon's preparation. In fact, some persons even said this seems like CAF is trying to actually compensate Morocco for the job well done for billing them out, particularly in the female category where they keep hosting the tournaments. We recall that Tanzanians did complain about the officiating. We also recall that before the game against Cameroon, the FECAFOOT president, Samuel Eto'o, also did complain. Yeah. And we also saw a clear penalty denied, the Cameroon by, the one that the attacker, I'm talking about Bram Buemo, was actually brought down. Yeah. And now we're also seeing this particular game. Let's talk about this particular Afcon. Is it the worst Afcon we've seen? And let's talk about the referee calls as well in this particular game against Nigeria. How much of a rating are you going to actually give the referee, looking at all of the calls he made? 26 offense or foul called against the Moroccans. No yellow card in that particular game. Yeah. And, I mean, it's a lot to actually talk about.
So for me, I think the referee played to the cards of the Moroccans, because it was, I beg about the script of the Moroccans and of course the script of CAF, because CAF definitely have a hand in this. And when I say CAF, I'm talking about Musepe. Sore loser at this point knows how much the banter would be if and should Nigeria get into the finals and maybe win that trophy. Should we move away from the CAF part and talk about the officiating yesterday? Very terrible, very, very terrible. The same offense you carded Onyedika for, another Moroccan player did the same and you did not. You just acted like, okay, I've given you guys this foul now. Yeah, play it now. It was more like, so this is an agenda that was set by CAF, and of course the Ghanaian referee did play to that script and it worked well, because officiating was not top notch for me, if you ask me, as against what we saw against the Algerian side. I mean, the referee that he was never biased on all fronts. The Algerian game was clean, clear, and so much was spoken about of that game. But then again, it has happened. If we cry about this, maybe the reason why we have to start having this conversation is the fact that we need to start putting officiating referees, in check. Whenever we know, okay, this person has an antecedent of doing this kind of thing before, and we're not talking about it.
So I'm struggling to wrap my head around this. In 2023, in fact, after the championship in Cote d'Ivoire, a lot of persons were saying, PGMO, come and learn how to use VAR in Africa. Come and see, top-notch officiating. Now, just 2 years afterwards, we're having, people complaining virtually about every single game that, in fact, at some point it was said that, some North African teams were given undue advantage. Is it about, the tournament being hosted in North Africa, or is it just that the CAF president or CAF itself, when it comes to officiating, has really promoted so bad that, we're actually at this level where nobody can now really trust what happened? Because if you look at that particular game against Morocco yesterday, I'm still trying to understand why Kevin Bassey was booked, if you can actually help me. Because Kevin Bassey was his shirt was actually being pulled.
Yes.
He was in front. And then his hands was, somewhere here. And then it was, Ibrahim Diaz, who was actually chasing him, whose face was down. So I was trying to actually understand what's going on. But, David, is this the worst of, championship in terms of officiating? I'm talking about Afcon.
No, so I would not generalize all of the officiating, because like I said, I did point out the officiating between Nigeria and Algeria. There was also beautiful officiating in the game against, I think it's the DRC, and during the group stage, I can't even remember now. But, because I saw those games. But one thing I know for a fact, my opinion now, that did happen in that particular game yesterday was that CAF had a script, and the referee and all of the officiating referees had to play to the script. Now, before that game, or even after that game, Calvin Bassey was about one of the best players in the tournament, not just with the Super Eagles, in the tournament. So if they know that Calvin Bassey should be carded, it means there would be some kind of weak link in the back of the Super Eagles that have been not somehow solid because the team is also scoring. Now, looking at the fact that that has been done, that was already a damage into the final. Should Nigeria qualify? And I mean, at this point, we'll be saying, okay, who would be the one that will stand in so solidly the way Calvin Bassey have done in the past games? So this was a script that was clearly played by the referee and, of course, as orchestrated by CAF and the Moroccan team. I beg your pardon, the Moroccan government, because, again, they are also co-hosting the World Cup. And that, again, is a plus on the part of CAF to say that an African team is also co-hosting the World Cup again after South Africa did it in 2010. So these whole script of CAF and the, I want to use the word Arab nations now because that's where the money comes from. It's something that will keep going on because, like it or not, these guys are paying real money. And don't forget, they also did support Musepe in his candidacy as the president of CAF.
All right, now, so let's talk about the game itself. How much of a miss was Wilfred Ndidi yesterday?
Honest truth, he wasn't totally missed. I just felt that the entire team decided to play what nobody expected them to play. And that was lay back, soak in the pressure, and if you can, catch the Moroccan.
But when you say it wasn't so much miss,
because Onyedika was all around the place. He did a yeoman's job.
But you know how the presence of Ndidi is. Sometimes a player's character on the pitch, you know, you've seen it all, you're exposed at that level.
I'm not taking that away, honest truth. I'm not taking that away. But to be very fair on that player called Onyedika, he gave his all. I mean, the yellow card he took for the team, that was one that even a Wilfred Ndidi would do because it's for the team. If you had allowed Hakimi move that pace, we don't even know what will happen. And then, of course, kudos to the entire team. Yes, they defended well. Even though, one time or the other, there were a bit of jittery at the back. But the confidence of defending well was so seen. And, of course, that, again, was as a result of the fact that the back line had been solid all through this competition.
So David, tell me, what exactly went wrong yesterday with the Eagles?
I think what went wrong is the fact that, for some reasons, I felt the Super Eagles were scared. I don't want to. Maybe that's about the only word that's coming through my head. Because of the home advantage. Okay. And of course, I mean, if you saw the pitch, we're playing against 13 men. The referee, and then the entire fan base, including the man at the hands of affairs that was seated down there.
Okay, let's talk about Eric Chell's tactical approach. Did he approach the game the right way?
Sadly, I think he did not. I think he allowed it happen. Because if he was going to consistently play what he was playing all through the group stage, even to the round of 16, I don't think it would have been a let's play mano a mano. And that was just what happened. So yesterday we saw a Super Eagles that came sitting behind, trying to soak all of the play, and you don't do that with it. Funny enough, the Moroccan side were not so tactical as everybody would want to say.
They're very organized.
They were, I mean, the North American side are always organized. They are always organized. With the Egyptian team, the Algerian team, they are always organized. But they are not as tactical as I felt they were going to be. Because if they were, the fact that you soak all of the pressure, I don't know if you saw the Real Madrid Albacete game. I mean, that's a Real Madrid.
We'll talk about that as well.
That's a Real Madrid team. So what I'm trying to say in essence is, if you decide to play behind and allow a team that is gifted, tactically gifted, and of course organized, these three put together, you will suffer for it. But unfortunately, the Atlas Lion of Morocco did not just have that thing that I felt they were going to have.
Okay, so let's look at the Super Eagles.
They were supposed to really trash the Super Eagles with the kind of gameplay we brought.
Let's run through the Super Eagles lineup and let's look at the players' rating for you. So, Asani Nwabali, what's your rating for him?
Well, yesterday he came up to the billing, and that's because that's about the first time he was really tried. So yes, if I'm going to judge him by yesterday's game, fantastic. He did well. He did well. I mean, when the first one out was going to be taken, in my head, I'm like, Mobali, move to this place because that's where he's going to play. And boom, he moved the other side. But overall, for yesterday's game, he did so very well to keep the team in that game all through 120 minutes. He did amazingly well. I mean, we also cannot look away from how much Seni Ajayi and Calvin Bassey.
So what's your rating? Your rating for him and how? I mean, over 10.
Nwabali, if I'm going to judge him yesterday, yes, he did amazingly well. I'm going to give him an 8.
8. So let's look at the fullbacks: Bruno Emechi and Samuel Samuel.
Oh my! I cannot sit here and tell you that these guys did not give their all. They did. They did. Penalties, unfortunately, is anybody's game.
Yeah, I know. And that's why we're actually looking at the ratings.
The only thing I would fault the entire team, and I'm not taking one person off, the entire team for was playing behind.
No, that's actually not.
That's not what you were. So that's not what you were doing.
That's not on the players. That's actually on the coach. So let's look at the ratings.
They also should decide.
No, they can't.
I mean, we've seen
tactically they can't.
We've seen players decide things on the pitch.
If
by
you
themselves.
decide and then you end up losing the game and the coach, comes out.
If you end up winning, what then happens?
Again, I mean, you can't do that with the Pep Guardiola. You can't.
Sometimes we feel some of these players can do.
You can't. We've seen him put a player in and then take the player out because the player refuses to follow instructions.
Well, yes. Again, I wouldn't want to. So again, should we blame Eric Chell?
No, we're not. This is not actually a blame game. We saw the Super Eagles play yesterday. Some persons did perform better than some, even though we want to say collectively the team actually did a good job, and that's why we're actually looking at the players' ratings. So,
yeah. The fullbacks. Whew. So my head is all around Bruno Yemichi and Osai Samuel. They made me feel super proud of their position.
Okay, since it's difficult for you to actually call, just tell me who your man of the match of the night for the Super Eagles was.
Yesterday. Let me see. Yesterday. It's difficult, really. But I'm going to give it to Nwabali, unfortunately, because he really stood up to the occasion. I mean, there were some times that I felt Nwabali was just going to mess up. So yesterday they say the bad child has his own day. The good child has his own day. Yesterday Nwabali had his day.
So yeah, beautiful. I mean, talking about one big team in Africa losing out, another big team also in Europe also lost out. Of course, in Africa, you might want to say that wasn't really an upset because if you look at the trajectory of Moroccans, how they've actually traveled the last couple of years, you want to give it to them as arguably the favorite tournament actually. So yeah, now yesterday we also witnessed right most of the team in Europe. I'm talking about Real Madrid. Also faced a shocking exit from the Copa del Rey, bowing out to second division team Albacete in a dramatic 3-2 defeat. This marked a nightmarish start for Alvaro Arbeloa, who was appointed just 2 days prior to replace Xabi Alonso. The match held in round of 16 concluded with a last-minute winner from Jeff Bentancur, sealing a famous victory for Albacete. Despite Real Madrid's status as second in La Liga, defeated largely backup team resting stars like Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Thibaut Courtois, and Rodrigo. Albacete initially took the lead through Javi Villa just before halftime, and Franco Constantino equalized on the stroke of halftime before Bentancur struck again for Albacete in 82nd minute. Gonzalo Garcia seemed to have salvaged a draw for Real with a stoppage time equalizer, but just 3 minutes later, Bentancur's decisive goal sparked wide celebration among the Albacete fans. The defeat marks the second consecutive season in which Real Madrid has been eliminated, I beg your pardon, in the Copa del Rey at round of 16 stage following their recent penalty loss to Atletico Madrid. This early exit is particularly disappointing for Arbeloa, marking his debut in senior management with a loss to a second division side. I mean, that game was being played alongside Nigeria's game and the game between, the London boys. Yeah. Talk about that as well. Tell me, is this, the end of the beginning for Arbeloa?
Well, if we know...
or the beginning of the end?
if we know Florentino
Perez.
this clearly will tell him, no, this person is not it. But that also goes to vindicate Xavi Alonso that was, let off just a couple of days ago, because I kind of wonder why you let him go if truly. So again, let's also establish one fact. Real Madrid is not building. They're not building. They are only, should I use the word, renovating. Yes, because if we say a team that is building, of course, building would now be using maybe Jude Bellingham or Vini. And by the way, Vini was the captain yesterday. So, but in all, really, I believe I'll be wondering, how did we get here? This is a Real Madrid side that, if we're even going to start rating how much each player is worth as against the Albacete side, you'll be shocked.
Upset happened in football, David.
That's kind of upset.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen.
Okay, more like Grimsby and Manchester United.
Yeah, we've seen crazy upset, David.
But the sad part of it is this: Florentino Perez will not call this upset.
Of course,
he will call this.
No, he'll
being incompetent.
Well, I mean, considering this is the first
How
game,
terrible did Alonso make to let him off the boat?
Well, Alonso's case is actually, particularly different. I mean, it's not. I think Alonso's sack, really has nothing to do with what's going on the pitch. I think it's more political because of player power, the likes of Kylian, the likes of Vini. These guys were not listening to him, and at some point, even before he got sacked, he also complained that this level of power that's given to players should not be allowed. A lot of stuff happening. In fact, if you recall that Super Cup game when Barcelona won, you see Xabi Alonso, telling the players to come give Barcelona guard of honor, and Kylian was telling them to, leave, and they left. So it's a lot. I mean, the whole drama, about Xabi Alonso, it's not about his tactical acumen. We saw him; he was actually an awesome coach. He did the unthinkable right there in Germany. But I mean, Bernabeu is another, different kettle of fish. Now Abelua is actually controlling things. This is actually a shocker. It has happened before. 2002, we saw the world champion fell to a Senegalese side that's not even decorated at a point. No Afcon title, nothing. They didn't even win anything. They're just having, a decent side. But unfortunately, they did lose to, the French side. They did won that game rather against the world champion, which is France at that particular. So sometimes this things happen. So, but no, they run out rather. France won in '98. Italy won in 2000. No, France won the World Cup before that. So, so the defending champion. So that's exactly what happens. It's sometimes I'm upset, but I'm asking: is this going to mark, some sort of, is it going to trigger some sort of another replacement before, the end of the season for Real Madrid?
Abdullah was just should we use the word caretaker?
Yeah, that's exactly what
so
it is.
It definitely means that right now,
you think we should be giving more time?
Florentino Perez would look. The honest truth is, we know Florentino Perez. He himself and his entire team will be shopping for the new replacement. And with this kind of result, he definitely will be telling himself, no, this is not how we're going to make money. If we keep losing this kind of game, I mean, to think that we have lost a title that we're supposed to consistently, fight for. And so this again will tell him, okay, this is about the time that we need to get back into shape. The La Liga title is not over yet. We can still get it if we get someone competent to help us, go through it. But then again, should we give Abelua some time and judge him by that? Possibly not. But let's not also forget, it's not the only manager that started the job and lost the job. Chelsea did the same.
So let's talk. Yeah, talking about Chelsea. Yes, last night we also witnessed, one team that actually, replaced their manager to another team that also replaced their manager. I'm talking about, the London club Chelsea in an exciting, right? Rather, I want to say an exciting game because the game was actually beautiful to actually watch. Game of football right at the bridge. Arsenal triumph over Chelsea 3-2 with a scoreline. And from those goals came from Ben White, Victor Gyökeres, who seemed to actually finally got a goal after a long time. And of course, Martin Zubimendi, who for me has been Arsenal's standout player of the season, secured the victory for the Gunners. Chelsea's midfielder, Alejandro Garnacho. Yes, Manchester United rejected and wanted away. Player actually did, the double for them to actually put them back in the tie, hoping that second leg is going to actually be different. Arsenal boosts confidence as they aim for spots in the Wembley final, hoping to end Mikel Arteta's streak of 4 consecutive defeats in 2-legged semi-finals. Meanwhile, Leandro Rossini's first home match in charge of Chelsea ended in disappointment. However, there remains optimism for a turnaround in the second leg set to take place on the 3rd of February, later next month, right there at the Emirates. Do you think Chelsea can actually turn the tide? Looking at what Chelsea fielded yesterday, a lot of the players actually are not the first team player. Actor fielded a very strong side, and a lot of us expected Arsenal to actually get, it over Chelsea, and they actually did. But with what we saw, Rossini also said he was actually impressed with the Chelsea side because of what he actually fielded against Arsenal and how they actually played. 2 goals from Garnacho. Is Manchester United the problem?
Well, I like the fact that you went to Manchester United. Manchester United is going through a phase, and I'm hoping that they can get through it and do better, because right now, from Amorim, we're going down to Carrick, and maybe from Carrick, we will go down again to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know what the Manchester United board is doing, but we can't look past the quality of Garnacho. He's done well. He's really fought for every single shirt that they give, every single moment in that shirt that they give to him. For Chelsea yesterday, they were not the better side. Arsenal was the better side. And going to the Emirates, I don't see them coming back from this, because Arsenal also would have learned from the fact that we let up some errors that made Chelsea look like they're going to come back. So if the likes of Arteta is thinking of a trophy, he definitely would know that at this point, this particular one is right in my face. I cannot but miss out from going to Wembley. So going to Wembley is a target for Arteta. However way to lift the trophy, even though the league looks like something that is slipping away slowly but surely. But we wait to see how it goes. But I'm definite that Arteta would know what to do going to the Emirates for the second leg of this encounter.
Thank you very much, David, for joining me right here.
A pleasure.
And that's exactly where we're drawing the curtain on this episode of today's Sports Republic show. It's really sad that the Super Eagles eventually will still have to wait for that 4th title. But then, as it is, you have to join the guys later in the evening as they break down, every single detail of that particular game. I'm talking about locker room. Jerry and Afis will be definitely here to do justice at 5 p.m. And then up next, it's News Hour. David will definitely be taking us around the world to tell us exactly what's happening. Perhaps a Nigerian story might also come up, in between the line. I am Ikechukwu Agwago. Stay tuned.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector, from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy. Join us as we drive into the world of politics through insightful interviews with prominent political figures, both serving and former governors.